Again, welcome everyone to today's MBA Information Session for Cal State San Bernardino. My name is Jessica. I oversee the admissions process and recruitment for the graduate programs within our Jack Brown School of Business or College of Business. With us today is also Irene, who happens to be a student in our program. She'll be sharing a little bit about her experience as well, but we wanted to welcome you and um, thank you for being here today. We'll go ahead and get started with just the information about the campus itself. For those of you that are not familiar with Cal State San Bernardino, we have a beautiful campus. We're about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from LA, yeah, give or take with or without traffic. So we're more in the inland Southern California region. You can see here some of the pictures of our campus. Our campus is known number 12 best bang for the buck in the West, according to the Washington Mutual, and we're also recognized as number 4 in the nation for social mobility, according to the U.S. News and World Report. So again, just to share a little bit about the campus itself, for those of you that are not familiar. Um, we'll talk a little bit more about the MBA program itself and why students are choosing the MBA program. But at this time, I'll let Irene just share a little bit about her background. She might only be with us for a couple minutes. So I wanted to give her some time to share her experience and give you all attending today the opportunity to ask questions if you have any. Irene, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Irene Michelle, and I have been a student for the past 2 semesters in the MBA Cybersecurity concentration. I would say that my experience has been very great, I'll say. And I went to Cal State LA, and compared to them, I feel like I'm gaining a lot of experience because the MBA here offers a lot of events. Academic advisor DeLorean has been very helpful, and his availability is always open, so that's great. And then also the professors are very kind when you need office hours, and then they also work with your schedule. And then also regarding classes, it's offered online and in person and hybrid as well. So I think it's great if you're working full time. And then for my next semester, I'll be taking fully online. So if you're working full time and you have other responsibilities, I think it's a great program to get into. And then also for my concentration, they offer a lot of clubs and projects, just because cyber does require that. And then for other concentrations, they do offer clubs. So if you want to get experience in your concentration, it's good for you to volunteer your time. And then also, you have perks as a student in CSUSB as like the gym. They have a fabulous gym. They have rock climbing. They also offer adventure programs if you like to hike, if you're a natural outdoorsy person. And then they also have a retreat where you have like massage chairs. So if you ever want to like go there, it's been great for me. And also my overall experience has been great, and I can't wait for my next semester. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, like I said, she won't be here the entire session. So if you have any questions for her as a current student, please utilize this time to ask her questions. No questions so far? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Irene. If you feel comfortable, you can put your email address in the chat. If not, the students, if you have questions for her in the future, let me know and I'll connect you with Irene, so that you can, feel more comfortable in getting her input on the program. So thanks again, Irene.
We do have a question. So
Oh,
the workload for the
okay.
MBA cybersecurity concentration, I haven't taken my cybersecurity courses yet. That'll be for my fall semester. So I can't really say on the workload. But I have been doing projects on the side, and it hasn't been too much as long as you do study, just because cybersecurity is an industry where you have to learn constantly and because it's always changing. I would say that as long as you study and you learn your materials, it wouldn't be too much. And also, I do have experience with other students that are in the cybersecurity concentration and they are graduating soon. And they said that the workload hasn't been too much.
Thank you. Any other questions for her?
But sorry, for cybersecurity, I would strongly encourage you to be active and do projects. And because the cybersecurity club does offer projects every Friday, they do different niche. So if you do want to get into cybersecurity, they give you experience on what you actually want to do. And they offer scholarships too, if you weren't aware.
Perfect. Who offers scholarships? It's the cybersecurity department or?
Yes, they offer two. So
Oh, okay.
they offer for undergrad and grad too.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so they offer experience on top of a stipend, and they pay for your tuition.
Depending on, okay, so if you get selected
Yes.
okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
The FSS, I think it closed. It's they have deadlines, and I think the spring one already closed. So they would be back up for fall.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This would be for probably for next fall.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? No one? Okay. All right. Again, thank you so much, Irene.
You're welcome. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Yeah, so I think Irene covered a lot of the things I wanted to share in regards to why a lot of students are choosing our program. Like she mentioned, we have very flexible course modalities. So we have two hybrid programs and a fully online program. The hybrid programs offer evening, weeks, sometimes weekend, or sometimes online courses. So I'll elaborate a little bit more on what our uh, which programs have which options. However, even our hybrid programs, every course that's offered in person will start 5:30 p.m. or later, which is why most students who are in the program currently work full time. We actually encourage students to work while uh, in our program so that you can also be getting that experience on top of the degree. If you opt to do the program full time as well, you can do that as well, um, so that you can finish the program quicker. You'll be able to move through the program much faster if you're a full-time student as well. We have a lot of opportunities like study abroad, graduate assistantships, and like Irene mentioned, we have a dedicated student advisor. His name is DeLorean. His role is solely helping students with creating educational plans so you know exactly which classes you need each term and so that you're advancing through your program um, in a timely manner. So he's very available. And this is something we're really proud to have because not all graduate programs have this. This is a little bit more common at the undergraduate level. However, grad programs often don't have a dedicated staff member to help you with, the class selections if you have questions about your program plan, and we do. Um, in addition, compared to other MBA programs with similar accreditations in our region, we have one of the most affordable MBA programs. We'll talk a little bit more about the cost and specifics, but really just based on the cost, the quality, and the convenience, we generally do feel that we have one of the best MBA options in the whole world, not just within our region. And speaking of the quality of the program, I wanted to share a little bit of the accolades that we hold. We're really proud to be AACSB accredited, which is an accreditation that is granted to business schools, and only 5% of the business schools in the entire region hold this accreditation. So that tells you it meets certain standards in order for us to get that accreditation. So that's why we're so proud of it. Um, our online program is also one of the best online programs according to the U.S. News and World Report, and that's been every year since 2014. Now let's talk about what's required for you to be admitted into the program. So in order to be admitted to any of our MBA programs, you need to hold a bachelor's degree. And for the bachelor's degree, we're looking for you to have a GPA ideally of a 3.0, and we can consider either your cumulative GPA or your last 60 semester units or 90 quarter units, whatever's higher. So that's why we ask for your transcripts from all the schools you've attended in order to calculate that GPA. Your bachelor's degree doesn't have to be in a specific field. It doesn't have to be in business. You don't have to have a business background necessarily, as long as your bachelor's degree is, you meet the minimum GPA requirements as well as the bachelor's and all the other requirements that we'll talk about. Um, Also, we'll ask for you to submit one letter of recommendation from a professional recommender. So that could be from professor, your supervisor, someone who's seen your work ethic, so no friends or family. And that will be uploaded directly to the application portal as well. We'll also ask for your resume to be as detailed as possible. You'll want to include the month and year in which you held each of your job entries. Um, and also a statement of purpose, so about a page-long statement of why you're pursuing the MBA program, what this program is going to do for you, and why you feel you're going to do well in the program. Once you submit the application, we'll also schedule you for an application interview with me, and that'll be via Zoom just to learn a little bit more about you. Now, we also will ask for what we call the business aptitude requirement. If you're pursuing our traditional MBA, we'll talk about the differences. But the traditional MBA is a program that has the option for you to add concentrations. If you're pursuing the traditional MBA, which is only offered in a hybrid modality, in order to meet the business aptitude requirement, you can meet it a couple different ways. One of them is if you have an undergraduate business degree from an accredited institution. So just an example, let's say you got a bachelor's from Cal State San Bernardino, were accredited, and your GPA was at least 3.0 or higher, you meet the business aptitude requirement that way. So you don't need to do anything else. If you already completed another graduate level degree, for example, a different master's anywhere else, you can meet it that way. Another way to meet it is if you have at least 2 years of professional experience in a leadership role. So that's why it's important for you to have your resume be as detailed as possible. It doesn't mean you have to have a title of a supervisor, as long as you have, just leadership experience. So if you're not 100% sure whether you meet that, you can send us your resume and we'll tell you if that meets the business aptitude requirement. Now, if you don't have any of these top options, then you are able to instead submit the GRE or GMAT scores. So these are standardized tests that are taken outside of the university, and then you just provide us with your scores to meet the business aptitude requirement. If you're pursuing the executive MBA program, either online or a hybrid, you must have at least 2 years of professional experience in a leadership role. So that would be the only way to meet that requirement. I'm going to take a quick pause here. Does anyone have questions on the admissions requirements? No. I don't see any questions. So I'll move along with the presentation, but if you do, of course, you can just put those in the chat. Now, I was talking about having different MBA options. So we have an MBA degree, but you have three different options as to which MBA degree you want to pursue. One of them is our traditional MBA. This program is only offered in a hybrid modality, meaning you can't do it all online. The program would allow you to select a concentration, which I'm going to go on to the next slide. So if you pursue the traditional MBA, you'd have the option of pursuing a concentration in any of these fields. The options are accounting and internal auditing, cybersecurity, which is a STEM designated concentration. We have entrepreneurship, finance, HR management, hospitality management, interdisciplinary, where you can pick and choose from different concentrations, We also have management, marketing management, global supply chain management, and I forgot to add one more that we're be offering effective this fall, which is business analytics, which will also be STEM designated. Like I mentioned, you could do interdisciplinary, or you can even do dual concentration. So if you want to do um, two different concentrations, you can do that. You'll just need to do the additional concentration classes for that particular concentration. So I'm going to go back to this previous slide. So the traditional MBA program is offered on campus in online classes. So it's a combination typically. Irene is in our traditional MBA program, for example. So she mentioned, for example, next semester she has all her classes online, but that's only because the classes are available. We can't guarantee that you could do all your classes online. Most of the time, students come to campus between 1 to 3 times a week, 5:30 p.m. or later, or you have that online component. Um, it's typically a combination of both online and on-campus classes. The total number of classes is 12 to 14 classes, depending on your concentration. Most classes are 12 class, most concentrations are a total of 12 classes or 36 units. Now, if you're pursuing the executive MBA, since it's already expected that you have a lot of business knowledge because you already have the work experience, this program is only 30 units, 10 courses, and you can complete it hybrid, so half online, half on campus, or fully online. Oops, sorry about that. With us today, we actually have Maggie, who is one of my colleagues with the MBA Online for executives, and I'll let her just talk a little bit more about the fully online option.
Thank you, Jessica.
Maggie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maggie Garcia. I'm the student advisor, particularly for the MBA Online for Executives program. As Jessica has mentioned, we are the fully online track. So this track is meant for individuals who definitely work full time and need that flexibility between work life and also school life. One of the biggest differences between the other two tracks is the asynchronous, fully remote option. So there are no scheduled lectures or Zoom meetings that you need to attend to. The executive portion of the MBA program there's a little difference, and I think Jessica had touched on it. There's a 2-year leadership experience requirement, so you would need to submit a resume for approval. That resume should highlight your leadership skills either in employee supervision, project management. So once we do receive your resume and it is approved, then you are eligible to apply. This certain track is accelerated. So there are 3 different terms that you would be taking classes for. It would be in the fall, the spring, and the summer. Students who complete our program on an average complete it within 21 to 24 months. You're taking an average of about 3 classes per semester. If you're interested in the online track of the program, I would be the best person to reach. I'm available via phone, email, and then also scheduled advising appointments. So I will put my contact information in the chat. If you are interested in the program, want to know more information, please feel free to put in in the chat for Zoom your name and your email, and then I can get in touch with you. Right now, we are accepting applications for fall, and the next deadline is June 13th, and the classes begin August 25th. But if anyone has questions, definitely let me know, and then feel free to put in the chat if you want more information. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Maggie. Um, does anyone have any questions about the differences in the programs or any other information we can provide regarding the programs?
Yeah, I have a question. Thanks for this presentation.
Of
We
course.
appreciate your time. So for the executive, I can see this online and on campus. I think I also saw somewhere it's a hybrid. That means uh, which option do I have to choose so that I can, get into hybrid?
Okay. Yeah. So if you're interested in the MBA for executives hybrid, then you would apply for the MBA, the Master's in Business Administration, executive concentration. So it would say on the application portal that it wouldn't say it's online. It'll say it's just a normal offering. When you're on the application portal, if you needed assistance with like making sure that you're applying for the correct program, let me know and I can assist you with that. But it would just say MBA executive concentration.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm. So that would be the hybrid option. Make sure you're not, if your goal is to come to campus as well, make sure you're not selecting the fully online option.
Right. So it will be a traditional MBA with the concentration for executive. Is
So what
that what you meant?
can you repeat that question?
Yeah, so I was trying to understand more what you just said,
Mhm.
which is when applying, I have to choose as though it's a traditional MBA, but the concentration will be for executives.
Correct. Yeah. If you wish, at the end of today's presentation, you can stay behind and I can show you on the application portal what it would look like.
Got it. In terms of curriculum, will there be any difference between what is being offered as executive MBA and hybrid executive MBA?
No, both the executive hybrid and the fully online have the same curriculum, just different modalities in which they're taught. So the hybrid option, it's still the same classes. However, we run on a semester basis, um, in which you take classes that are both on campus and online, um, for 15 to 16 weeks each semester. The fully online program, you only take one course at a time, but they move pretty quickly. They're 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks long. But it's still the same course, just different ways of being taught.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you for that question. Any other
Sorry,
questions?
one question
Yes.
related. Um, so in the hybrid setting, is there a time commitment that I have to be on campus versus how many hours I can attend online?
There's not a commitment, it's just the way the classes are offered. So most of the time, students will be required to come to campus. We see often probably between 1 to 4 times a week, depending on the classes you need that particular semester. So let's say this for the first semester you need, the introductory course, there might be only courses that meet in person. Same with the second semester, depending on the classes you need, when you register, what's available, everything can change. So we can't tell you exactly, upfront, like you're only going to be on campus once a week, or, it just depends on the classes you need that particular semester.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Of course. I will mention though, if I'm just saying generally, I'm not saying you're an international student, but for international students, students are required to have at least 3 units of in-campus, on-campus courses. So if anyone here is an international student, you are required to have a minimum number of units on campus. You can't do it fully online.
Okay.
Alrighty. Um, okay, right. In that case, I'll go on to the next slide, which will talk a little bit more about the cost breakdown. So you can get an idea. Now, if you're pursuing our traditional MBA, assuming you're taking around 3 classes per semester, the total cost of the program is going to be around 30,800 as a California resident. If you're pursuing the cybersecurity concentration, it's closer to 43,000 because it's more units. As a non-resident or international student taking the same number of classes, the total cost of the program, this is not per semester, this is the total cost. It's going to be closer to 53,000 or around 61,000 if you're doing the cybersecurity concentration. Now, if you're pursuing the executive MBA, that's less classes because you're not doing the concentration. As a resident, taking around 3 classes per semester, you're looking at around 30,000 for the entire program. Non-resident or international students taking around 3 classes will be a total of around close to 43,000 total. Now, if you're pursuing the fully online MBA for executives, for the 10 classes, you're paying 33,000 regardless of how many classes you take each year. That's the total cost of the program. You're not getting charged per semester. You'd be getting charged per course. Okay. Now, I know these numbers sometimes look scary, but if you'll see that when you're doing research, especially with local schools, uh, like I mentioned, we have one of the most competitive tuition costs. Um, a lot of MBA programs around the region will cost closer to 100,000. So our program tends to be around a third or half the price of, other universities with the same accreditation, which is the AACSB accreditation. Now, I did want to talk about financing your degree since this is a question we often get when we talk about the cost. If you're interested in applying for financial aid, we encourage, if you're a domestic student, to apply for FAFSA. FAFSA is the application for government student aid, which is grants and or loans. Um, the grants are typically available for students doing the hybrid programs, and they are need-based, which means depending on your FAFSA application, depending on your income, your household size, the Department of Education will determine if you qualify for grants, which is free money, or just loans. At the very least, most students will qualify for loans that will help you pay for the program up front, and then you can pay back the loans upon graduation. Another way to help fund your degree is, especially if you're an international student or even domestic students, is we do have graduate assistantship opportunities throughout the campus and within our college that you can apply to after your first semester. So once you start the program after your first semester, when the opportunities come, you may apply for those GA positions or graduate assistantship opportunities. Now, scholarships, they're available all the time. The way scholarships work, in case you're not too familiar, that's money that's been funded by private parties to help students with tuition costs. Typically, the donors will set stipulations as to what's required for you to be considered for the scholarship. Sometimes, or a lot of the times, they'll say it's only for undergrad students or it's only for a specific major. So part of the trick to scholarships is that you research the scholarships that you qualify for, and then you submit an application for each of the scholarship. There's not like a FAFSA for scholarships. Each scholarship will require its own application. And just because you apply does not mean you're going to get it. It could be 50 applicants and only one of the 50 applicants is going to receive the scholarship. So with that said, it is a lot more competitive, but it's free money that's out there that you could potentially be missing out on. We also encourage students, if you haven't already considered, is to, if you work at the moment, talk to your employer about employer tuition reimbursement. We have a lot of employers who help our students with tuition costs, even if it's not the full amount. I think it's worth consulting with your employer to see if they can, help with the costs. I'm going to take a quick pause here. Any questions on any of these items? I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to then go on to Samuel. I'll go ahead and at the end of today's presentation, I'll provide a link with just scholarship resources. So there's a list of internal scholarships that Cal State San Bernardino issues, and then also there's private parties. So there's different like scholarship search engines or platforms that you we can provide you, the resources with. Alrighty, so what you can expect once you've been admitted into our program is you'll be introduced to your academic advisor who helps kind of your planning of which classes you're going to take each semester. But we also have a new student orientation for all our new students. It's typically via Zoom right before the semester begins, where you'll get to meet the staff of the program, resources, policies. And then there's also going to be different programs throughout the year, different events. We have the Passport Leadership Program, which is a program that is intended to encourage our students to attend on campus or online events. And for each event that you attend, you collect a stamp, kind of like you would in a passport. At the end of the academic year, if you collect a minimum number of stamps, then you get a leadership award recognition. We also have our MBA student ambassadors. Irene is actually one of our student ambassadors who represents the program as a student leader. She helps students who are considering the program and just provides insight as to what the student experience is. We also have Coyote Network, which is like our internal LinkedIn that helps our students and alumni connect with each other so that you can network that way. We also have a lot of resources. For example, we have our Students with Disabilities Office in case you need any accommodations. Our Rec and Wellness Center, which is the gym that Irene was referring to, counseling services. Our Veteran Success Center is a good resource for students who might have any military benefits. Our Career Center, who hosts different events throughout the years, like host internship and career fairs where we invite potential employers to come on campus so that our students can, have access to those potential employers. We have a physical on-campus graduate success center. So it's a physical center that is reserved for specifically our graduate students. You have a space with a computer lab, a kitchenette, in case you need, that just a space to study. We have different sporting events, study abroad programs, and our Overshaw Den, where we help students who are struggling with basic needs like food, shelter, clothing even. So again, just some of the resources that we have available. I do see a question in our chat that says, how many students are accepted each semester into the fully online program? So we don't have a limit as to how many students we admit. Thankfully, we're at a place where we're not impacted. So as long as you meet the minimum requirements for admissions, we guarantee you admission into the program. I don't know if that answers, if that was your concern, Alexis. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so as long as you meet the minimum requirements, we're going to guarantee admission. There's no minimum requirements. No, I'm sorry, no maximum number of students we admit. I see, is the GRE compulsory for international students? Do you mean if it's required? If it's required for international students? So I'm going to go back really quickly to the admissions requirements. Maybe you missed it. So it's not required for domestic or international students. However, it is a way to meet the business aptitude requirement. So you can have it waived if you have at least a GPA of at least 3.0 from another business program. So, for example, if your bachelor's was in business and you have at least a 3.0 GPA, you don't need to take the GRE GMAT. If you have another graduate degree, or if you have at least 2 years of professional experience. So if you meet any of those items, you don't have to take the GRE or the GMAT. Now, if you don't have any, then we would ask you to provide GRE or GMAT scores. Thank you. Also, I see another question. I've noticed a discrepancy in number of required recommendations. Some ask for two. Is there a reason for this? So we actually only need one. Some of our documents might say two. We recommend two, only because this is where we sometimes see delays in the application, where a recommender might be delaying the process. So if you have two options, then at least one of the recommenders will respond quicker. So that's why some of our documents might say two, but we actually, in reality, as long as we have one, that's okay. A minimum of one, we can render a decision with just one confirmed letter of recommendation. Okay, thank you for that question. Alrighty. So in that case, I did want to let you know that if you haven't visited our website to do so, you can find us at csusb.edu/MBA. In this website, we list all the admissions requirements, so everything we covered today. But in addition to that, once you become a student, it'll have a lot of information on the program itself, events, scheduling appointments with your advisor, forms, course information on your capstone courses like your portfolio, your comprehensive exam. So it's a good, again, if you haven't visited, it's a good resource to have. So I would advise for you to visit the website. And then we mentioned it previously, but we are currently accepting applications to start this fall, 2025. So the application deadline for domestic students is July 1st. That would be to start August 25th. If you're an international student or even a domestic student with foreign transcripts, we urge you to apply as soon as possible. The deadline's actually June 1st. After June 1st, we cannot consider your application, but the sooner you submit the application, the better. If you're an international student, there's a lot of countries that might be having delays in with the consulate, so there might not be a lot of visa appointment availability. That is why we urge students to apply sooner than later. We don't offer deferrals, unfortunately. So if you already know you cannot get an appointment before August for your visa, then you can also apply for spring. Our application for spring will open up August 1st, and the deadline to apply for spring is December 1st for all domestic students or November 1st for all international students. And again, that would be to start January 2026. And the application, again, is Cal State Apply. That's the application portal. So if you go on Google and you search CSU Apply, you'll need to drill down to our program specifically, our campus, and then our program specifically. If you need assistance with that, that's where I come in. I'm happy to help if you need help with navigating through the portal. Any questions on the deadlines? No questions. Okay. I did want to remind you all, if you're on social media on any of these platforms, go ahead and follow us or send us a request to be your friend. We're on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. I'm actually going to be posting a recording of today's info session on YouTube. I'll email it to you directly after the session today. But if you wanted to follow us on these platforms, we encourage you. We'll have information for prospect students as well as current students. So even once you become a student, we'll have important information for you on these platforms. If you'd like to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me, either to further discuss your questions or if you need help with the application portal or navigating it, you can scan the QR code that you see on the screen now. I'm going to input my email address in case you wanted to contact me directly as well. Okay, now while I do that, let me read some questions that we have. Can you provide a link to the cybersecurity information webinar? We don't have a separate webinar for the cybersecurity program for the MBA. We only have one for all our MBA programs. However, if you have any other questions, feel free to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me and we'll answer any specific questions you might have about that concentration. We can also connect you with a program chair if there's specific concerns you had. Um, and then Ashley, I see your question. Are those deadlines for the traditional executive tracks? The online executive, I'll double check, Ashley, but the deadlines should be the same for all programs. It would be July 1st for all traditional and executive tracks, including the online program. If you hold on tight, after the presentation, I'll go on the application portal, show you what it looks like, and then I'll double check what it says for online. If that's an issue, we'll correct it. But it should be July 1st for all the programs, or sometimes we extend it for July 15th, to get all the documents we need. Okay. So with that being said, that's all the items I wanted to go over. I'll pull up the application portal in just a few seconds. But if you're not interested in seeing the portal, or you already have that information, you're free to exit. Thank you everyone who joined today. And again, if you have questions for me, feel free to reach out. Now I'm going to pull up the application portal. Give me one quick second while I log in, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so let me show you really quick. Okay, so if you don't already have a Cal State Apply profile yet, you'll need to create one first. And once you create one, your portal will look something like this. The best way to search for a program is, I like to search by campus first, and it'll show all the programs. So for example, the MBA for executives, you're right, Ashley, it does show June 13th, so I'm going to have that corrected. It should be July 1st. So you still have some time. We'll probably extend it by the time June 13th comes around. We'll have that corrected. We'll work on that. But just keep in mind that the online MBA, that's something I forgot to mention, has a second session. So let's say you're not able to start August, you'll have the opportunity to apply for session 2, which would begin in October. And the deadline for that is September 5th. I forgot to add that. That's only if you're doing the MBA online for executives. So if August is way too soon, you'd have the option to apply for session 2, which starts October. So that's showing here. It has session 1 and session 2. Now let me. Okay, so this is where I know somebody had asked about the MBA hybrid concentration. So it would be the business administration executive concentration. So it doesn't say any online. If you're interested in the online, then it would say specifically online for executive. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Alrighty. Thank you, Ashley, for bringing that up to my attention. I'll confirm that. And like I mentioned, it says the deadline is July 15th, but that's to have all your documents completed. That's why we require for you to have your application by July 1st, in case we have any items missing, like the letter of recommendation or any other documents. You have that cushion of 2 weeks to submit everything else. Now, I know some of you asked about scholarship resources, so I'm going to put those. Let me go to our website and search scholarships. That was actually. So this just kind of gives you an overview. You can visit the website, and what it does, it provides specific, it's not scholarships per se, it's resources for you to research for scholarships. So you can use the scholarship research tool, and it'll provide you different platforms you can use. This is one of them where you could create a profile, and it's kind of like just like a portal for you to search for them. It's not necessarily different scholarships. So I put that in the chat as well for you to research. All right. Thank you, everyone. If you don't have any other questions, I'll conclude this session. But again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any other questions or if you wanted to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me. Thanks again.